All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless me here talking real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. So, promoting the new stuff, doing what few are doing anymore because for the most part, nobody cares, but I keep doing it anyway. Here's a band called Rendevu. The guy who runs this band, right? His name is Oz. That's OZ. And then his last name is Haw, Hawe. So if you're from the South, this would be funny, and I might do it in the Southern accent, but Oz, Hawes, Rendezvous. Yeah, man, it's Oz, Hawes, Rendezvous. So it's really good. It's melodic rock, AOR stuff, pretty up tempo for the most part. One song on here sounds like Survivor meets Starship. And it's a whole bunch of different folks, kind of like an all-star project from the great country known as Sweden. Okay, again, sorry. I mean, I was talking about Allocate earlier too. They're also from Sweden. And both of those albums, by the way, courtesy of Pride and Joy Music. So good for them. I'd like to see other labels making or putting out some good material for us old geezers who still want to hear some melodic rock. Now, speaking of melodic rock, kind of, is a guy I really don't like all that much. So talking about him, I don't know. I shouldn't really want to talk about Sebastian Bach, but here we go. Apparently, he's played his final card, trying to get Skid Row to reunite with himself. During a recent appearance with Trunk Nation, of course he'd be on Trunk Nation. Eddie Trunk, I'm going to interview these bands until they're 150 years old. I'm just going to keep talking to the same people. Now, fans are hoping because Skid Row's singer, Eric Gronwall, quit, all right, had to take care of himself, had some health issues. So here comes Sebastian Bach again saying, hey, guys, so this is how he wants to reunite with his old band. And I'm not making this up. He says, I need to write a thoughtful email clearing up a miscommunication, but I have to make sure it's the perfect bleeping email. So he's doing the same thing that Dave Grohl did. And I really do expect that from Sebastian Bach. I don't expect him. All he has to say is, I better write a really great email, but it's a perfect effing email. And I don't say anything wrong or make any jokes. In other words, he doesn't want to offend his former bandmates. I just don't have the energy to do that right now. Hey, Sebastian, find a ghostwriter for your email. I mean, he doesn't have the energy to write an email, but I know I need to do that. I've just got a lot on my plate right now. So, the name ID, the reunion, that wouldn't be bigger than whatever you have on your plate right now. Again, this is a guy who isn't the most intelligent person. During the lockdowns, he was really happy about the lockdowns and people wearing face diapers. He thought that was necessary. And, you know, the 6 foot distancing, social distancing, right? Anti-social distancing. I don't know. He was cool with it. And he was really upset because people weren't, going crazy trying to get to CVS to knock over the person in front of them so they could get that safe and effective product that people have been talking about lately, and not in a good way. Not in a good way. None of these guys, if you noticed, they were all tools of the pharmaceutical industrial complex. They're all tools of the media. And, there's no rebellion. There's no, again, like I used in the last video, no self-awareness. Like, hey, maybe I should apologize to those people. I mean, he's kind of like a middle America sort of artist, Skid Row, working class. I think that music appealed to the working class for a little while. I've got friends that like country and they liked some of this metal stuff that came out. And for some reason, they can reconcile those two things. I do a little bit, but not as much as some people do. Like, you don't put like Motley Crue and Little Texas together, all right? You don't do that, but some people do because they're super educated, or whatever it is. what's the word? They're just very diversified when it comes to their music. And I can be like that, but with Sebastian, I'm just saying, who did he really appeal to? The kind of folks that were really the ones who lost their jobs, lost their income, and listened to the media and people like himself. All these guys have to do is come forward and say, you know, a lot of stuff has happened since then. And like people who got injured, that's kind of a new thing. We heard about that thanks to Chris Cuomo, came out and just spilled the beans. The guy who was, again, telling everybody, you know, to hermetically seal themselves, is now saying, oh, I was injured by one of these things. Really? So anyway, Sebastian Bach wants to get back with his old band, and he needs to send an email to them. And that's going to be too much work for him because he's got too much on his plate. Can someone find Sebastian a, like, what was it? What a designated emailer, like a designated driver? Have somebody, you know, drive the email bus for him and send that well-written email with no sarcasm or jokes over to his former bandmates. So maybe they'll get back together again, right? And they'll have a big tour and they'll make lots of money. You know who they should go out on tour with? Motley Crue, obviously. They should open up for Motley Crue. And by the way, just to try to be fair here, Sebastian Bach has a new album out there, and it is actually pretty good. If you like that style of music, it is pretty good. So I would check that out. But I wouldn't check that out before you check out this one here. All right, Rendevu, that's what I'm just going to call it. Well, I've got to try to do this because if you look up Rendevu, you're probably not going to find it. It's Oz. That's the guy's first name. And then Ha, Hawe, apostrophe S, and then Rendevu. Okay, type all that out. I'm doing this all for the love of the new material that's out there. Most people would see this and go, oh, too hard to promote on YouTube, too hard to say, you know. I mean, a DJ would just say, hey, it's Rendevu with their brand new song. Best way to do it, right? So anyway, folks, thanks for watching. As always, pray for peace in the Middle East and around the world and in our own country, especially as we are less than 6 months away from the craziest election we've ever seen. So get ready for that. And also, for those of you who'd like to help the channel, it's Patreon, YouTube memberships, and Buy Me a Coffee. Links for those things will be in the description of this video about Sebastian Bach, who needs to send an email to his former band, but just doesn't have the time or the energy to do it. That's it. That's the video.